Do you need a few reasons not to buy the Apple Vision Pro? I'm here to help, but let's do this in reverse order, of course, for dramatic effect. Number 10, probably the most obvious, price. At $3,500, this is a really expensive toy. And some of you guys out there are probably saying to yourself, I'm gonna use this for work. I think you're only fooling yourself here, man. I really do hope that it is some sort of workhorse. But so far from what I've seen, everything really points in the direction that it's gonna be better at short form entertainment purposes. Now, sadly, the bleeding doesn't stop at $3,500. To get more storage, it's an extra $200 for 512 gigs of space or $400 for a terabyte of storage. Quick check on Amazon, a terabyte of SSD is selling for somewhere between like 60 and 100 bucks. That's a pretty big markup there. And I wish that things stopped there, but the Apple Care for this device cost $500. Without it, it'll cost $800 to repair the cracked covered glass across the front. Other component repairs could cost as much as $2,000 for this device. Now, 3D videos, immersive panoramas, Apple's spatial videos, if taken at the right distance, are all gonna be amazing within this device. But I think we're all gonna quickly burn through pretty much all of the available content for this device pretty quickly. I'm willing to watch dinosaur content once, maybe twice, but after that, I really feel like it's just gonna end up being a cool parlor trick without a ton of value. And I know I'm bad about this. I think all of us are trying desperately to come up with reasons that this will be a helpful work tool, but I'm just not sure that the keyboard experience is gonna be up to the challenge here. There are three basic ways that you can input text on this device. There's a virtual keyboard option where you can kind of poke with an index finger, kind of like a hunt and peck method. Maybe that's something that you guys did when you first started typing. But you can also look at the letter and touch your fingers together like this to select a letter. I think that might be a little bit faster. But then there's also Siri voice to text. My quick take is that this just isn't a machine that you're going to want to like sit down, put any sort of time into doing any sort of writing, responding to emails, or anything like that. Maybe I'm wrong, and I would love to be wrong here, but I just don't think that it's as much of a workhorse as we want it to be. Now, number 6 on my list here, Apple has this feature called eyesight. It's basically a feature where people can see your eyes while you're wearing the Vision Pro headset. It's an image of your eyes or a digital image of your face. Looking at it, it's gonna look a little ridiculous. Notice that Apple hasn't let any reviewers take photos of this feature, and I think that's for a reason. I think it's gonna be quite creepy. Now, the Apple Vision Pro will also mirror your displays from your Mac, from your iPad, from your Apple TV, but it's only up to 720p. Again, going back to work, I'd love to be able to set up a large display or two so I could edit videos like this, but I just don't know if 720p is gonna cut it. I typically edit on a large 4K screen, which I find extremely helpful for these videos. Okay, number 4 on this list is battery life. You get up to 2 hours of general use or 2.5 hours of video. So it'll kind of probably maybe make it through that video that you wanna watch, but fear not, it can be used while charging. Unfortunately, that just leaves all of us tethered to the wall while we're using this thing. Now, one of the biggest problems with the Apple Vision Pro at the launch of this thing is the fact that there aren't multiple user profiles for it. It's kind of locked down to one Apple ID at the moment. There is a guest mode, which is great, but it requires recalibration each time it's used. And at $3,500, I'm sure that we're all hoping to share this device with our spouses or our kids or whoever we want to share it with. And it doesn't look like that's an easy option at launch. And I've got to be thinking that this is going to be something that's going to be high up on their list to quickly fix right after launch. At least I hope so, right? Now, another issue with the Apple Vision Pro is that it's going to be missing a few key applications at launch. Netflix YouTube, and Spotify are the 3 applications that are kind of like high up on my list that I do wish were gonna be on this device at launch. I do hope that they'll kind of fast follow and actually develop an application specifically for this device. Maybe you guys don't care about those particular 3. You may have a different set of applications that are important to you, but you can access all of those through the built-in Safari browser. So, I guess there's that. I like to keep in mind that when the iPhone first launched, there was no App Store at all. So depending on the popularity of this device, hopefully these companies take the next step of stepping it up and developing a specific application for the Vision Pro. I mean, they're on every single other device, right? But my number 1 problem or potential reason for you guys to skip the Apple Vision Pro is that this thing is gonna be very heavy on your head or your neck. Spec sheets have it at 600 or 650 grams, depending on the size of the straps and things like that you use. The separate battery weighs another 353 grams. I don't think that that's a problem at all. It just goes in your pocket, kind of stays out of the way. Actually, in fact, I would have thought that it would have been great if they offloaded even more processing or memory or anything else that they could have possibly offloaded to that little pocket-sized battery pack pod thing that they have. And that extra battery pack, if you do want one of those extra battery packs, $200. But the weight of the Vision Pro, even after 15 minutes, is gonna be a lot. It's gonna be pushing down on your cheekbones, and I do think that overall comfort is gonna be a bit of a struggle with this device. So lots of issues, lots of reasons to potentially skip purchasing this device. The more and more that I learn about the Apple Vision Pro, the more and more I feel like it's a questionable purchase. And I should mention that these are issues that we're fairly certain about, but I'm recording this prior to the Apple Vision Pro launch, meaning that Apple could address some or all of these issues before the February 2nd launch date. And it's a first generation product. Along with that, there's always gonna be a lot of first generation issues. I think smart buyers are gonna be the ones that wait until the 2nd or the 3rd generation of this device. Maybe there's gonna be like a lighter weight Vision non-Pro edition at half the price. I don't know. Okay, so who do I think should buy the first edition of this Apple Vision Pro? Well, software developers potentially, those that want to actually program for this platform. And then I think YouTubers that want to review it and kind of let all of us know like what they think of it, issues with it, things like that. And then I'll say probably the Apple obsessed, not that I'm like blaming people or saying that something's unreasonable. I mean, people collect things and I think that's fine. Anyone that wants to own the first generation of like whatever Apple makes, I think that's perfectly fine. And I do want to touch on the flip side, like what's going to be good about this device. I hate having a video that's so negative. Debbie Downer over here. I think that looking at images in movies in the Apple Vision Pro is gonna be amazing. The eye tracking and the overall user interface within here, I think all of that is gonna be really impressive. And overall, I don't doubt that using the Apple Vision Pro, I don't doubt that it's gonna be a magical experience. But my overall feelings about it, or my fear at least, is that yes, the Apple Vision Pro is this new magical technology experience, but it's a device that doesn't really fit into any sort of lifestyle or personal workflows. I'd say making it a very expensive demo-ware device that you really don't want to own. It's hard to say. It's super early on. Subscribe if you want to learn more about this thing. I'll be one of those suckers that's picking it up early, and I'll try to answer whatever questions you guys have about this device as early as next week. But be sure to get out of the virtual world, step outside, get out there, swim, bike, run, rinse, and repeat it all over again. And we will see you guys on the next one.